In 1976, there were a handful of great soul and funk one-offs on the short-lived Koala label. There was the John Wagner Coalition. There was the Bobby Glenn album, Shout It Out, that I covered yesterday. And there was a self-titled album by a combo named Main Street. And from their singular self-titled album, the track Tighten Up Your Love. Already, we've got the blaring horns, we've got the slick bass, we've got the choice kind of upfront Fender Rhodes, with a really driving tempo. This is going places, or this is cruising the main street, definitely. That bass line's familiar from a '60s song, yeah. It kind of reminds me of Sweet Soul Music.
Babe, we've been grooving on each other's love for quite some time. And for the most I have to say, the things have been just fine. But now our love is hurting. It's really got me worried.
Okay, one of the few vocal tracks on the album, pretty direct vocal delivery so far. Unfortunately, no credits as to the who's who of this band, and any of the media I've been able to dig up. But the lineup is Janice Russell, Ralph Gonzalez, Rick Davies, Robert Seeley, Steve Miller. No, not that one. It seems that a few of these people have tie-ins with the John Wagner Coalition, which makes sense since that band also put out an album on the Koala label.
Getting short, so is our time. You're into this, I'm into that, and we could go either way. We try to talk and then we find.
Notice how the horns are coming in, sort of like accenting the lyrics, like coming in, or kind of between each line. Yeah, accenting. Yeah, kind of like embellishing, and kind of adding a bit of urgency to certain words.
Feeling slowly heavy. Oh baby, where are we heading? Where's the love we thought was here to stay?
Yeah, that bass really kind of drives the melody, while the horns just kind of embellish it, like perforate around it. And
all things ain't what they used to be. We're drifting like the ships at sea.
I like how this is unfolding now, this change of keys. F major 7 to G major 7. Yeah, that's a really pretty. Despite even though this isn't necessarily like a pretty song per se, it's a bit more urgent. It's there's a slight bit of melodrama and tension going on, but the contrast between pretty chords and kind of urgent tension and such and release and.
Step away, we gotta tighten up our love. We gotta tighten up our love.
Good use of flats and sharps here.
We gotta hold on to the future we've been dreaming of. Oh, baby, we gotta tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up.
Yeah, E flat to G minor. Yeah, I love when they throw that in. Like they definitely some great like harmonies. It those key centers and that change, like those chords being 2 full steps away from each other, is about almost as far as you can get without going into a tritone, and being somewhat unusual chords for, well, in pop music anyway. It's a great bedrock for harmonizing and tonal breadth. great call and response between the backup and the female. I like how the drummer's throwing in that extra, throwing in the hi-hat like at the end of each, like every other bar.
Your friends and I've got mine, that's not how it should be. Where do we go from here, my friend? It's up to you and me.
Yeah, notice how the horns are kind of like accentuating and driving kind of the urgency slightly, but they're not overpowering the vocals, but they're definitely kind of like perforating, right kind of like behind her head.
Got no time for stalling. Our house of cards is falling. We've got to keep our love in harmony. All things ain't what they used to be. We're drifting like the ships that sink.
Great change right there.
No, our love might hurt today. We just can't let it slip away. We gotta tighten up our love. We gotta tighten up our love.
The chorus takes a while to arrive. They go through several like bridges to get there, and it makes it all the more like cathartic when it arrives.
Gotta hold on to the future we've been dreaming of. Oh, baby, gotta tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up our love, babe. Tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up.
So tight, this whole like tighten up. Yeah, this band knows how to tighten up, definitely. Like the arrangement is just so precise and clear, and like the tonal separation. Great production for such a in its own days kind of like a small time release, but it's definitely something that should have been picked up and just became more readily available in recent years, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I love that full kind of outro where that volume swells up, and now they're kind of layering onto each other. The drumming's just getting a little bit more aggressive. Percussion layering it on a bit more densely. Horns getting a bit thicker. Yeah, just carrying out to the fade out. That was Tighten Up Your Love by Main Street from their 1976 self-titled Singular album. Let's hear another track from the album, an instrumental Slipped Disc. Really tight guitar figure driven funk track. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Olympic runners. Really punchy horns, like interlocking with the rhythmic component. Notice we've got like 3 layers going on here. We've got the bass, like ostinato, with some tricky choice placement of notes. We've got the guitar figure that's been kind of like serving as sort of the main earworm through the whole thing. And we've got the horns just kind of punctuating, punching, and blasting certain notes, certain accents. Yeah, we got a few like I guess like a trumpet and sax just kind of playing in unison. And we've got like two guitars going on. We got the wah wah. Hear that kind of wah wah just laying out kind of like waves of sound, kind of like watery. And then we've got the now we've got this. We had that like tight kind of clipped, kind of snaky guitar line throughout it. And now all of a sudden we've got this kind of oozing tone coming along, taking over. Yeah, kind of a searing tone, fuzzy. We've basically been like in I think two chords so far. We were mostly in C minor before. Now we're like an F. Dun dun dun. It's amazing what you can do just in a single key center. Yeah, bands that really know how to play, that really know how to interlock, that really know how to play off of one another. Yeah, they can make the same key just be captivating for minutes on end if they have the energy, if they have the drive. Yeah. I bet most of you didn't even realize that we were mostly in the same key the whole time. It was like you're just too distracted by everything. I think I'm hearing kind of like a wah wah on a Fender kind of going, or I'm yeah that wah wah wah. Quite a few earworms in this track. I mean, we had that guitar just taking over. Now we got these punchy horns, just giving like a real kind of anthemic sort of theme. That was Slip Disc by Main Street from their singular self-titled album on Koala, released in 1976. The band just seems to have been like many. Well, the members also appeared on the album Shades of Brown by the John Wagner Coalition, also released that year. Some of the members appeared on some interesting one-offs from the time period. The Latinos put out an album in '76 on Lamb and Lion Records, and 1973 album by one David. Some things to kind of add to the bookmark. One of them had been in an early '70s band from Albuquerque named Mud, not to be confused with the Chin Chat band from the UK. And one of the people on this recorded some solo albums in the 2000s. Yeah, resurfaced years later, but has since passed away. Yeah, that being trombonist Rick Davies, not to be confused with Rick Davies of. Oh, he was in some interesting things during the 70s. Yeah. Anyway, all topics for another set. Yeah, for more Rubies and Sapphires from the Main Street album, see the directory of albums by American funk artists linked in the description below for Red Hot Tracks and Purples from this album, their only album, but as well as many other great one-offs from 1976, as well as 75, 74, 73, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. Yeah, all those great years when dozens of good albums were coming out weekly, and by the end of the year there were hundreds of new albums to catch up on. Yeah. Like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two tracks we just heard: the layers, the soloing, the interlocking, the grooves, the punctuation, who had the best solo, the best moment on there, the best break. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most air travel maximalist, signing off.